While the food supply chain has been given a short reprieve from the tariff war and the rise of the Buy Canada sentiment, it could throw a wrench into the food that gets to your table.
So joining us live now is Sylvain Charlebois, director of the Agri-food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University. Sylvain, thanks so much for joining us right now. Obviously, you know, on Saturday when news came that Trump was imposing these tariff threats on Canada, the tariffs rather, a lot of people thought, okay, let's buy Canada, let's stick to Canadian products. How do you see this, if this continues, affecting the food chain, the food supply, and ultimately how much we pay at the grocery store?
Well, I mean, beyond tariffs, and frankly, I've always believed since November that we're never going to see tariffs affecting the food supply chain. It'd be suicidal for any politicians to do that, starting with Mr. Trump himself. He would actually hit and hurt Americans first. And with 25%, I mean, 25% is huge in the agri-food sector. Because of lower margins, people would notice higher prices almost instantly. But the problem that we're facing right now is the uncertainty that is impacting our Canadian dollar. And because it's costing more to get food into our country now, people are going to start seeing higher prices. And that's really the big problem that we're facing right now with all the tit for tat going back and forth between Washington and Ottawa. That's really what's hurting consumers right now.
You know, I'm also intrigued, Professor, because, you know, we've talked about this sort of Team Canada approaches, Buy Canada, people, you know, checking their labels a little more closely. You're seeing, you know, the all Canadian signs there on that meat counter there. If Canadians really do dive into this and grip onto this and continue to buy Canadian, that would lead to a lot of American products being left on store shelves here. How does that disrupt what happens at the grocery stores, and what do grocers do with potentially all these American goods on their shelves as people choose Canadian instead?
Well, I mean, grocers will actually carry products that will move, that people will want to buy. If people don't want to buy American goods, then that leaves some shelf space for Canadian goods. And let me tell you, it's been tough for some companies to deal with Loblaws and Walmart and to get that precious shelf space. So this may not be bad news. The problem is, of course, is that there's a reason why grocers have actually imported products from the U.S. They're typically cheaper. And so the center of the store, typically, I'm thinking about the center of the store, we could see more Canadian products. So yes, a win for the agri-food sector, but let's make sure that these products are affordable for everyone as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, obviously Trump has also paused the tariff threat to Mexico. But if Mexico is also under 25%, we're looking at the avocados we get from Mexico, Corona beer, other products. Yep. So it's not just between Canada and the U.S.
Well, I'm actually in Mexico right now, actually, and I was speaking to wheat producers yesterday. And let me tell you, I think there's a great opportunity here between Mexico and Canada to develop this Canada-Mexico food corridor. We don't have to pay tariffs under bond, and really, Mexico needs more wheat, needs more pork, needs more corn. And these are things that we can grow, and we can actually, you know, buy back a lot of different products like that, tariff-free as well. So America makes too much noise, so much noise that we forget about Mexico. There's lots of opportunities there for sure.
Before we let you go, Sylvain, I want to ask you one thing about, again, going back to the Buy Canadian situation here. You know, people say, you know, buy Canadian, but sometimes, you know, it's like Walmart Canada or Starbucks or whatever. Like, it may be owned locally, employs local people, but the profits go elsewhere. How do you sort of help people sort through that sort of dynamic here of, well, you don't want to see people lose their jobs, but you want to sort of support Canadian business?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, there's always a Canadian component to everything you buy, because maybe a Canadian actually just put that product on a shelf or transport that product. So, but with nationalistic boycotts, they're always tough to be effective because it's a multiple target boycott. People may decide to boycott like a chain, a store, a label. They may decide to boycott ingredients. So it really depends. 7 to 9% of Canadians will likely boycott America proactively at the grocery store. They are likely not going to be effective, or the boycott may likely not be effective, but it really gets people to understand where their food is coming from. And that's never a bad thing.
course, education is key, and the more we know, the better equipped we are to make those decisions.
Exactly.
Sylvain Charlebois, director of the Agri-food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University, aka the Food Professor. Thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it.